This is an amazing story of how Jesus was able to walk on water and calm the storm and the waves. But also amazing is that Peter was able to walk on the water too. And the story teaches us that if we have faith in God, then we too can have faith and courage. And faith can enable us to do amazing things like walk on the water or handle our challenges in life. In fact, Jesus tells us that if we have faith as small as a mustard seed, we can move mountains. So we must only need a tiny wee bit of faith to walk on water and an even tinier amount to handle our challenges in life. Well, let's go back and look again at the story and see what we can learn from it. Jesus is trying to teach us some amazing things here. Let's try to understand. The first part, it was time for Jesus to spend some time in prayer. Even though it was late at night, Jesus knew that time in prayer with God his Father was important. One important secret to this amazing miracle is found here. Jesus spent time with God in prayer, and Jesus encouraged us to do so too. If we want to increase our faith to do great things for God, we need to spend time with God in prayer. And the next thing was that the disciples were unable to steer the boat and became frightened. Even though it was difficult to do so, they should control their fear. Instead of turning to fear, they should have turned to God in faith. This is difficult to do, of course, when people think they're going to die, but this is part of step 2, to control your fear. Many people think that, of course, Jesus could walk on water. He was Jesus, after all. But don't forget that Jesus had given up his deity power when he came to earth to be born as a baby and to grow up as a man. His ability to walk on water came from the same place that gave Peter the ability to walk on water, from God, of course. The next thing we notice is that Peter took his eyes away from Jesus and onto the waves and storm. Once he took his eyes off Jesus, he began to sink. He was doing fine as long as he was watching Jesus. And that leads us to the next step. If you want to walk on water, you must keep your eyes on Jesus and not doubt, even after Jesus said, "Come." The next step we see is that Jesus looked at his disciples and said, "Why do you have so little faith? Why do you doubt so easily?" Well, I don't think that the story was meant to encourage us to walk on the water all the time. I think the story is meant to encourage us to have the courage to walk on top of our circumstances and not be drowned by them. This is a wonderful picture of walking in faith, showing that Peter was able to do the miraculous as long as he looked to Jesus.